Hey everyone, Lorrobbees Apiary here. Sorry it has been a very long time since I've uploaded a video. My guess is it's probably been about 3 months. I think the last time I did was early November. Last video definitely was reflecting on how difficult the second half of the year had been for me as a beekeeper. Talking about some of the failures that I've encountered, some of the losses that I had during that time going into winter. And so now here we are. So today is January 31st, almost February 1st. Like I said, I had a lot of work stuff, life stuff, changes for myself that came up over these past 3 months that kept me very busy, and I just was not able to make any content. And it doesn't help that the one time that I was planning on making some content was in early January, right after the new year. And I came out, I had all my equipment ready to go. I was checking on the bees, doing an oxalic treatment, and forgot my memory card for my GoPro. So, that kind of sucks. That happens. I was planning on showing you guys some stuff, but did not have the ability to do so then. So I'm gonna try to make up for it today and try to show you some updates with where everything stands. Today we are out here at the first yard. I'll probably go to at least the other two. I don't know if I'll make it to the third yard, or the fourth yard I should say, but at least to 2 other yards, and we're just doing oxalic treatments. This will be the second treatment I've done of oxalic acid this winter. Usually the main time of the year I do oxalic. I don't usually do it any other time of the year. And I have a new device to show you. If you've seen my previous videos, I've just used the old school wand, $50, $60 wand, which those things are okay. They don't produce a lot of vapor. They don't hold a lot, personally, from what I've noticed, and they leave a lot of remaining residue. Sometimes they kill bees. You get what you pay for, and I don't discourage anyone from getting one of those. I think they're still very viable, especially if you're on a tight budget. But I am using today, this is the second time I'm gonna be using it, the Lorrobbees InstantVap 18 volt. This thing's been pretty great. I had watched a few videos, a few reviews, how-tos on this. Got this over the December holiday for myself, and this thing's been a game changer. I think it's a little overkill for my size of operation. Again, I don't keep that many beehives. I don't think someone that's at the hobby scale like myself really needs one, but if I ever do grow to a point where I would consider myself a sideline, beekeeper, which is something that I would love to do at some point in time, this will pay dividends, I'm hoping. So this is, like I said, the Lorrobbees InstantVap 18 volt. It is not on, but I have the battery plugged in, so it's giving you all the different readings. Mine's showing in Fahrenheit. So right now it's going to be set. This bottom number is what the goal is going to be, is to set it to 445 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now it's just sitting at ambient, like 71. I think really right now it's in the 60s, but in here with the battery plugged in, it thinks it's 71, I believe, if I understand this correctly. Shows the voltage, 20.2. Sorry, I got like chalk on my hands from some work earlier. And down here, this is a DeWalt compatible unit. They also make a Milwaukee tool, and I think they make, let me check my notes real quick. I believe they also make a Makita, okay, according to their website. But I had DeWalt batteries, so I figured why not use one. This one's it has the 20 volts and 9 amp hour. Like I said, right now it's sitting at the 20. Again, this being my second time using it, I'll be curious how it runs, but from what I understand, a good condition battery, like a brand new battery, you should be able to get 50 treatments out of it. I want to say 50 treatments, 50 individual hive treatments, which this thing, from start to finish, from the time you do everything, should take about a minute per hive. Should. It might take you longer than that, but it's way quicker than heating up the element with the wand. This thing is just way quicker. I have noticed, and I'll try to mention it later, if your voltage as you're running this, if this gets below 16, it'll just stop, it'll just turn off, which it makes sense. It's just, it's not enough for it to do what it needs to do. So, you may, depending on how many hives you do keep, you may want to bring either like a portable charger, some way that you can charge this on the go if you're moving yard to yard, or you do some hives and then you top it off, whatever you need to do, because the second this thing gets to like 16.1 volts or below, if it gets below that 16 and it dips into that 15, I've seen mine just turn off, and I have to recharge it. So again, I mentioned the DeWalt battery. This is the plunger. This whole thing's made of stainless steel. Right here, the nozzle, it's copper. Right now it's being covered by something. This white plastic is an Apimaye compatible nozzle. It's 3 little sections you can buy on Lorrobbe's website. I believe it's a slightly newer product for them, but the reason why they designed this is because since I'm using Apimaye bottoms in this yard, this copper tubing, which you'll see on a different yard when we go to another one, it's meant for a wooden frame. Normally, this plastic right here is meant to protect, or I'm sorry, to cover the copper that gets super hot from melting this plastic, because the Apimaye bottom boards are plastic. So if you use Apimaye bottom boards and you want to use this Lorrobbees InstantVap 18 volt, you're gonna need this. It's like a $10 little add-on, you know, totally worth it. I will say this though, since using it, I have still had issues where when I'm placing this inside the front entrance, I've still had some melting issues where maybe it was just leaning up a little bit in the wrong spot and it still melted in Apimaye, one of the little B entrance holes. Something to keep in mind, nothing that it like ruined the bottom board, but I have had some melting issues, and you know, just make sure when you do use these, if you place them in there, to really make sure they're seating in a good spot and the vapor is getting in there without the copper touching your plastic and melting, making a mess. So I'm gonna show you how to use that. Any other things to mention? Like I said, this is the plunger. Tried to clean it up a little bit this morning. It is stainless steel. You can still see some residue. I probably could have done a slightly better job. Might take some steel wool or something like that to actually clean it up a little bit better. But it's pretty cool how this thing works. This is where your oxalic is gonna go into, all your granules. It is right here, kind of tells you how much the dose is gonna be. Right now I have mine set at 2.5, but as you turn this, see if I can, I'm not gonna look behind the camera as I'm doing it so I can show you at the same time. So as you turn this, in this case, I'm turning it counterclockwise. It's going down to increase. So now this third dash is saying 3 grams. I can go all the way down to the bottom for a maximum dose of 4 grams down here. Every dash is a gram. 1, 2, 3, 4 grams. I've been doing each hive at about 2.5 personally. Up to you as to how much you want to do. So we'll keep it right around there, close to 3. So I'm gonna pause the video here in a second and I will show you how we get this thing filled up once I get suited up, and we'll get started. We'll start working down the line. All right, at this point, sorry, it's kind of hard to hear. Don't have the plunger in there just yet, but we need to turn it on. So we just turned it on. I said it's still at the ambient temperature. It's gonna start going up from there. We want it to hit that 445 degrees, and then once it does, it'll be ready to go. It'll be ready to vaporize all the oxalic once I place that in the plunger. So at this point, we're just gonna wait, and then we'll get this thing going. I think it's pretty self-explanatory how that worked. Like I said, you saw the comments below. I wasn't talking because you wouldn't be able to hear me through my protective mask, so I would sound very muffled. So I'm just gonna put it on a time lapse, run through and do the rest of these, give them all a quick oxalic treatment, and then I'll do some feeding and try to get out of here. Just figured I'd show. This is after, let's see, about 10 to 15 minutes of being off. It's still at a relatively warm temperature. Just keep that in mind. You don't want to like leave it on and have that copper tip pointing somewhere where it's going to melt something in either in the back of your work truck, car, vehicle, wherever you store this thing afterwards, even after you take the battery out of it. Just kind of wanted to show you all that, so that way you saw. Once the battery's out, after it's been turned off, it just turns straight off. But pretty handy. Like I said, I think this thing's gonna be extremely useful moving forward. Again, cleaning wise, since it is stainless steel, I've just run underwater, scrubbed it. If you want to use some steel wool, something like that, pretty easy. I haven't really messed around too much with cleaning the inside of this, but I would assume it's the same process. Maybe use like a scrub brush, something like that, just to kind of get in there really good where the plunger goes in. So yeah, like I said, right now all I'm doing is some feeding on my internal round feeders, just kind of going down the line. I'm almost done here. Interesting thing to note, there is a lot of pollen coming in right now in these hives. So, you know, even though we're almost in February 1st, these bees, you know, we've had this very wacky weather. It's either way too warm or way too cold, and you know, the bees have had to deal with it ever since. But I'm not 100% sure what, you know, plant it would be that they're bringing in, but I have heard reports of people saying that some maple trees might be, you know, producing pollen that these bees could be bringing in. Usually red maple, from what I understand, is one of the earlier flowering trees, usually one of the most important ones for bees to get a source of pollen coming in right before the spring kicks off. So good to see that. I haven't done a deep inspection in any of these hives since November. Honestly, I've just been feeding in oxalic, but all 5 of these have been pretty good. I know I mentioned in the last video that I've had some losses. This yard's been good. I haven't had any losses in this yard, knock on wood. So can't say the same for the other yards. They've had a lot rougher of a go, but that is the nature of beekeeping, and that is the nature of Mother Nature. So, you know, there's lessons to be learned, things I could have done better, but all I can say is this upcoming year is going to be mainly about how to expand. I'm not really going to be focused on getting honey. If I get it, great, but that's not going to be my goal. My goal is going to just be to grow more bees. So I'm going to be doing a lot of splits and try to recover the losses that I had across the board. So just shows, you know, always be prepared going into winter. But so far these hives have been looking really good. So without further ado, I'm gonna close up this video. I hope that all makes sense. I know it was a quick one. Hopefully this little quick instructional on this, you know, you can go to our website, watch other YouTube videos. Like I said, I think Cayman Reynolds has a good video on this device if you want to watch that. I'm sure there's other beekeepers that have the same type of videos, but hope all your bees are doing well. I'll try to be better about getting another video at least once a month. I can't say it's going to be an every other week type of ordeal, but I will do my best to keep you guys updated as to where things are going. So hope you all have a great week. Stay safe, take care, and talk to you on the next one.